Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama.
The following is a talk given by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj on December 6, 2014 in New Delhi, India. The talk was about pastimes with Srila Prabhupada.
This is Prabhupada Leela.
The Prabhupada Leela. So, Srila Prabhupada visited Jagannath Puri during 1977 between January 24th and January 27th. He visited Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's birthplace. And so you have any recollections of this?
The thing which stands out in my mind most.
The thing which stands out in my mind the most
was that the state government was offering some land.
That the Orissa government was offering some land,
and Prabhupada was seeing if that land would be suitable for a temple.
and Prabhupada was seeing if that land would be suitable for a temple.
But the land was on the beach side
But the land was on the beach side
and had no trees.
and it had no trees.
So Prabhupada found he wanted a land with trees.
So Prabhupada commented that he wanted a land with trees.
So he had gone to the beach where the land was situated.
So he went to the beach where the land was situated,
But found it to be unsuitable.
but found it to be unsuitable.
It was near the Hanuman Mandir.
It was near the Hanuman Mandir.
Other than that, he had mentioned
Other than that, he had mentioned
several things.
several things.
He was saying how
He was saying how
the people of Orissa
the people of Orissa
and Jagannath Puri
and Jagannath Puri,
accepted Lord Chaitanya
they accepted Lord Chaitanya
as an avatar.
as an avatar.
Yet,
Yet,
although Lord Chaitanya
although Lord Chaitanya
had predicted
had predicted
that his movement
that his movement
would spread
would spread
in every town and village
to every town and village
of the whole world,
of the whole world,
Pratiti Theache,
Prithvi te ache,
Jata Nagaradi Ram,
Yata Nagaradi Gram,
Sarvatra Prachariti Harve,
Sarvatra Pracharite Hoibe,
Manam.
Moranam.
So he was trying to find the right word. He was concerned
So he was concerned
that in spite of all this,
that in spite of all this,
they didn't welcome the Western devotees
they did not welcome the Western devotees
and kept them outside.
and kept them outside.
And he said that since they accepted Lord Chaitanya,
And he said that since they accepted Lord Chaitanya,
they should accept his devotees.
they should accept his devotees.
Like that, he was commenting.
Like that he commented.
He also reminisced how
He also reminisced how
he had sent me
he had sent me
to see two of his godbrothers
to see two of his god brothers
who knew some people in the Mukti Mandap,
who knew some people in the Mukti Mandap,
which is in charge of the Roy Temple
which is in charge of the Puri temple
and its religious aspects.
in its religious aspects.
So, but they tried, but they were not able to succeed
They tried, but they were not able to succeed
in getting any favorable response.
in getting any favorable response.
Now we have Bhakti Thakur's Bhajan Kutir,
Now we have Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bhajan Kutir,
and we have
and we have
some land
some land
which has trees.
which has trees.
So, by these standards,
So by these standards,
Prabhupada should be pleased.
Prabhupada should be pleased. Regarding the Bhakti Shastri that Bhakti Shastri exam that you gave along with your other God brothers and succeeded in getting the Bhakti Shastri degree, could you explain how it started and who was doing it and what happened with that program?
So,
Srila Prabhupada,
he was very committed to having the Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava, Bhakti Vedanta, etc. degrees.
he was very committed to having the Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vedanta and Bhakti Sarvabhauma degrees.
He announced that he would give exams for the Bhakti Shastri
He announced that he would give exams for the Bhakti Shastri
on such and such date.
on such and such date.
And, so, the devotees who wanted it, they read up
So the devotees who wanted the degree, they read up
on Bhagavad Gita
the Bhagavad Gita
and the books that he was testing on.
and the books that they were tested on.
And on that day,
And on that day,
they administered a test,
they administered a test,
and they took the test.
and they took the test.
I was one of them,
I was one of them.
and some passed, some failed.
Some passed and some failed.
So I passed and all.
I passed them.
I passed and all,
I passed somehow.
and I was given a certificate,
I was given a certificate,
Bhakti Shastri.
Bhakti Shastri.
I don't know where that certificate is today,
I don't know where that certificate is today,
but I had it.
but I had it.
Maybe I should use the Bhakti Shastri degree on my name,
Maybe I should use the Bhakti Shastri degree on my name.
rather than wanted the devotees use these titles on their names.
Prabhupada wanted that devotees use these titles on their names.
B.SR
B.SR,
or B.S.
B.S,
B.V.
B.V,
like that.
like that.
So he wanted a systematic training
So he wanted a systematic training
to be established in Islam.
to be established in ISKCON.
So in Vrindavan they have established this curriculum.
So in Vrindavan they have established this curriculum.
Also in Mayapur,
Also in Mayapur
with the Mayapur Institute
at the Mayapur Institute
and in other places around the world.
and in other places around the world.
In fact, in a letter written by Prabhupada,
In fact, in a letter written by Srila Prabhupada,
he said anyone that gets the Bhakti Vedanta degree
he says that anyone who gets a Bhakti Vedanta degree,
be they male or female devotees,
be it male or female devotees,
that they are eligible to be considered for initiating gurus.
they are eligible to be considered to be initiating gurus.
So we don't have the Bhaktivedanta degree exam yet.
We don't have the Bhaktivedanta degree examination yet.
Of course, people will take a test.
Of course, people would take a test.
It's based on the 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Based on the 12 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam,
And that's basically the Bhaktivedanta.
that's basically the Bhaktivedanta.
Bhakti-Vaibhava is the first 6 chapters,
Bhakti-Vaibhava is first 6 cantos,
cantos, and Bhakti-Vedanta is the last 6 cantos.
and Bhaktivedanta is the last 6 cantos.
So if you complete Bhakti-Vedanta means
So if you complete Bhaktivedanta means
that you have all the Bhagavatam at your grasp.
that you have all the Bhagavatam in your grasp. The next question is regarding the 1971 Mayapur flood and how the flood relief program started in Mayapur. Was Prabhupada there, or did he say anything specific about it?
There was a very large flood
There was a very large flood
in 1971,
in 1971.
but at that time,
At that time,
there were only a few devotees in Mayapur,
there were only a few devotees in Mayapur,
and everybody was living in the grass hut.
and everybody was living in the grass hut.
So the Sudama Vipra,
So Sudama Vipra,
who is a devotee, I think, from Hawaii,
who was a devotee from Hawaii,
he was a good swimmer.
he was a good swimmer.
He stayed in the grass hut,
He stayed in the grass hut,
but one day the water kept rising higher and higher,
but one day the water kept rising higher and higher,
and he was inside the grass hut,
and he was inside the grass hut,
and there was water on all sides.
and there was water on all sides,
So and the water was rising,
and the water was rising,
so he was trapped.
so he was trapped.
So and he took a deep breath,
And he took a deep breath,
and he swam out the front door,
and he swam out the front door,
and he hurt his leg on the way out.
he hurt his leg on the way out.
Somehow he got to the surface outside,
Somehow he got into the surface outside,
and he swam over to the Goswami Mutt.
and he swam over to the Goswami Mutt.
So then he stayed there for some time,
Then he stayed there for some time,
and we brought him some money and food and things.
and we brought him some money and fruit and things.
But then they're not in a position to really help anyone.
At that time, we were not in a position to help anyone.
The next flood,
Next flood,
we were in a better position,
we were in a better position,
and we went to the different villages,
And we went to the different villages.
And we had soaked chickpeas
And we had soaked chickpeas
and soaked chira
and soaked chira,
and flat rice
flat rice
and some gore.
and gur.
And so I went to different villages.
And so we went to different villages
Gave out the gram,
and gave out the gram,
flat rice,
and
gore.
the gur.
Gore means
Gur means
molasses,
molasses.
gore, jaggery.
Gur or jaggery.
What's a Western term?
What's the Western term? Jaggery.
Jaggery. So, then after some days,
And after some days,
we could mobilize ourselves
we could mobilize ourselves
and make cooked khichdi.
and make cooked khichdi,
And we were distributing that
and we were distributing that
to the different villages.
to the different villages.
We went to Hindu villages, we went to Muslim villages.
We went to Hindu villages and we went to Muslim villages.
So everybody accepted prasad.
So everybody accepted prasadam.
So I saw that one boy,
So I saw that one boy,
his finger was infected,
his finger was infected,
and I saw that he needed some primary health aid.
and I saw that he needed some primary health aid.
So we started to take doctors with us
So we started to take doctors with us
to serve the people
to serve the people
who were affected by the flood.
who were affected by the flood.
And then the government said
And then the government said
in the newspaper,
in the newspaper,
we have airlifted bread
we have airlifted bread
by helicopter
by helicopter
to the flood victims.
to the flood victims.
So one helicopter flew over our long building
So one helicopter flew over our long building
and dropped a few hundred loaves of bread.
and dropped a few hundred loaves of bread
So the 2,000 some people,
to the 2,000 some people
who fought for like a Mahaprasad.
so who fought to get the Mahaprasad.
It was a drop in the bucket.
It is like a drop in the bucket.
There was a great need that the government was just doing tokens.
There was a great need, but the government was just doing token.
So gradually over the years, the flood relief has taken a new dimension.
Gradually over the years, the flood relief has taken a new dimension.
Since Prabhupada said that no one should go hungry,
Since Prabhupada said that no one should go hungry
in a 10-kilometer radius
within a 10-kilometer radius
or 10-mile radius.
or 10-mile radius,
So we had the village leaders
so we had the village leaders
give us a list
give us a list
of all the families
of all their families
and how many members in each family.
and how many members in each family.
And so we call up members of each family
So we would call up the members of every family
and put the appropriate number of scoops
put the appropriate number of scoops
in their vessel.
in their vessel.
So it was very systematic,
So it was very systematic,
and everybody got what they were supposed to get.
and everybody got what they were supposed to get.
So some people took shelter of Mayapur.
So some people took shelter of Mayapur.
Most people were in their villages.
Most people were in the villages.
So we would take the food to them
So we would take the food to them
and distribute the prasadam.
and distribute the prasadam.
At that time, the only vegetables available were green papaya
At that time, the only vegetables available were green papaya
and green banana.
and green banana.
Everything else is underwater.
Everything else was underwater.
And Rasa Das, he was the one registered devotee who was with us on the distribution, flood distribution program.
So Rasaparayana Das, who was a Western devotee, he was with us on the food distribution program.
That may have been during Prabhupada's time.
That may have been during Prabhupada's time.
And then people would wait out to the chest and water.
People would wait with their chest, with water high up to their chest.
And they come to the boat
They would come to the boat
with their bowls
with their bowls
to get prasadam.
to get prasadam.
But you didn't know who got how much, which family got, which family didn't get.
But we didn't know who got how much, which family got, which family did not get.
So later we went to the local government
Later we went to the local government
and it was much more systematic.
and it was much more systematic.
One time I fell off the boat
One time I fell off the boat
and then I grabbed onto a tree
and I grabbed onto a tree
because I was being swept away by the current.
because I was being swept away by the current.
And on the tree
But on the tree
was thousands of ants.
there were some ants, thousands of ants
who had taken the shelter of the tree.
who had taken shelter of the tree.
So I grabbed on the tree.
When I grabbed on the tree,
I thought, oh, prasad.
they thought, oh, prasad.
And they started biting me.
And they started biting me.
Then one time in the behind the Chandradaya Mandir,
One time behind the Chandrodaya Mandir,
when they were going to the Mayapur and neighboring villages,
we're going to the neighboring villages.
then on our way back,
On our way back,
there was a plank floating in the water.
there was a plank floating on the water,
And on the plank was a cobra.
and on the plank was a cobra.
And the cobra stood up and showed its
And the cobra stood up and showed its hood
and fangs.
and fangs.
So we decided to go another way.
So we decided to go another way.
And once we were entering the main gate,
Once we were entering the main gate,
and naturally touch the main gate to keep the boat off.
Normally,
Naturally, you would touch the gate,
naturally the boat would touch the gate,
or you would touch the gate
and or the boatman would touch the gate
to keep the boat away from the gate.
to keep the boat away from the gate.
But on the gate,
But on the gate,
you go and see there's grooves,
if you go and see, there are grooves,
and all those grooves are filled with snakes.
and all those grooves were filled with snakes.
You like snakes?
Do you like snakes?
And in our chakra building
In our chakra building,
by the foreign exchange office,
by the foreign exchange office.
if you know where that is,
If you know where that is,
I think Achindi can show you.
somewhere I think Achitya can show you.
Filled with snakes.
It was filled with snakes.
And one devotee
And one devotee
had captured 56 snakes.
had captured 50 such snakes.
So, being the only dry thing has its downsides.
Maybe the only dry thing has its downsides.
That ants,
Ants,
snakes,
snakes,
they take shelter.
they take shelter there.
The devotees
The devotees
would attend the morning program,
would attend the morning program,
and after their waist in water.
and they would stand with water up to their waist,
And then the Prabhupada Puja,
and they would do Prabhupada puja.
there was a couple of snakes
There was a couple of snakes
swimming in the water.
swimming in the water.
So then I chased those
Then-
snakes out.
I chased those snakes out.
So, but generally the devotees they would appreciate the Ganges was on all sides.
Generally, the devotees would appreciate that the Ganges was on all sides,
But it also is dangerous.
but it's also dangerous.
We lost a few lives.
We have lost a few lives.
So we would do the food relief,
We would do the food relief,
and we would do our spiritual programs.
we would do our spiritual programs,
But we would try to survive in this water world.
we would try to survive in this water world.
The flood only lasts 1 or 2 weeks,
The flood only lasts 1 or 2 weeks,
but one has to be careful
but one has to be careful
during this time.
during this time.
So different devotees would have boats, and some would boat,
So some devotees, they have boat,
and they would travel from one house to another,
they would travel from one house to another,
or to the temple.
or to the temple.
So Prabhupada liked that we were doing this food for life in the flood.
Prabhupada liked that they were doing this food for life in the flood.
Generally we would get
About
one flood every 6 to 9 years.
one flood every 6 to 9 years. First flood was 2007.
Huh?
The last flood was 2007. So we have crossed 6 years now. 8 years. Almost.
When the water comes to the side of the road,
When the water comes to the side of the road,
and everybody helps
then everybody helps
to put sandbags
to put sandbags
to keep the water out.
to keep the water out.
But at one point,
At one point,
if the water rises too high,
when the water rises too high,
then the sandbags will be breached
then the sandbags get breached
and the water flows.
and the water flows.
Sometimes the water flows over the Ganges, and sometimes it flows by the Jalangi.
Sometimes the water flows over the Ganges, sometimes it flows by the Jalangi. There was a letter I remember where Prabhupada wrote to you. I think it was a question that you asked about some flood which happened in Bangladesh, and where you wanted to know if the devotees could do some relief program there, and Prabhupada wrote back saying that's not our program, something like that.
Around our temple,
Around the temple,
it's been so that we feed the people,
the principle is that we feed the people
because Krishna is the Supreme Father.
because Krishna is the Supreme Father.
But Prabhupada didn't really want us to be a relief organization.
But Prabhupada didn't really want us to be a relief organization
And go different places
and go to different places
just when they have some natural calamity
where they have some natural calamities
to do relief work.
to do relief work.
Of course, if someone does this as a profession,
Of course, if someone does this as their profession,
I presume that would be all right.
I presume that would be all right.
But he was talking about the dedicated devotees.
But he was talking about the dedicated devotees.
I lost two very good devotees
I lost two very good devotees
who were airlifting food
who were airlifting food
from New Orleans to Southernport.
from New Orleans to
Southernport. It's a city in Louisiana.
to Portal, Southern Portal.
Southernport. Southernport.
How do you spell that?
Shedeveport.
Sheveport. Sheveport.
Something like that.
Okay.
It's very close to Dallas.
It's very close to Dallas.
It's in the northwest of Louisiana.
It's to the northwest of Louisiana.
So there, one devotee had a flying license,
One devotee had a flying license
and he helped airlift
and he helped airlift
supplies
supplies
and other things.
and other things.
And on one of his journeys, he crashed.
During one of his journeys, he crashed.
two devotees were lost.
and 2 devotees were lost.
So, if people lose their life distributing Bhagavatams,
If people lose their lives distributing Bhagavatams
Bhagavad Gita,
or Bhagavad Gita
or prasadam around the temple,
or prasadam around the temple,
then that's glorious.
then that is glorious.
But just mundane welfare work
But just mundane welfare work
is not as glorious.
is not as glorious.
Maybe in the mode of goodness,
Maybe in the mode of goodness,
but it's not transcendental.
but it's not transcendental. We'll end here today. Take rest.
So we have
Do we have prasadam?
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,